What's up, Purposeful People? It's your girl Mai, and I am here because I have some things that I want to talk about. There is a woman who has been following, well, she just started following me. I've been following her for some time, but over on TikTok, she has been engaging a little bit with me, looking at my videos and stuff that I did for the Super Mom contest. And these next set of thoughts that are going to come is going to be connected to the interaction with her. So first, I want to say that I'm very, very, very aware that the little YouTube allows you to do longer videos, and so I realize that other platforms don't. So if for some reason this video does not make it all the way to the end, depending on whatever service you are using, you know where to go if you are interested in hearing the rest of this. So as for those of you who have been following me for a period of time, you know that I am still trying to figure out what to do with my platform. So for those of you who have been following me for some time, you know, I coined the phrase purpose pusher when I got the idea or the inspiration to use that as a title for myself. I combed the internet and there was nobody using it. Like, there was no hashtags, there was nothing. And so as time went on, I would, I had like these little Google things that you can set up to where if somebody uses certain words on the internet, it'll send you a message or whatever. So for those people who have been following me, or those of you that have been following me for some time, you know that I was very heavily, religious, spiritual, Christian, and everything that I was doing with my social media had to do with purpose. It had to do with, trying to help people, at least my goal, because I didn't really reach like social media influencer status. I didn't have numbers like that or anything like that. But my goal, my intention was to, as I was searching for my purpose, I would share that with other people. And so that's what my platforms have been centered around. So then I went through a huge shift, and this is also an introduction for those of you who don't know me. I went through a huge shift, and I was married for 16 years. I got divorced. So my marriage and my lifestyle at that time was, like I said, very heavily religious, very into church, very into all of those things. And so it was some years coming. However, I ended up getting a divorce. Then a lot of things were unearthed from that, because, it's death. It's a death. I've heard people, and I'm sure you probably have heard people refer to marriages as a death. And so with that death, it brought up and started unearthing things. And then I started realizing that I had a lot of religious trauma, and there were a lot of things that I still need to unpack from my experience in the different churches that I have been a part of, right? So I am not, not the same person. I don't think the same. I still love God. I'm still, I still love God. I still have a relationship with God, but I'm just not the same. Not the same. So in advance, for if you're new here, like this, you're not going to see and hear a whole bunch of churchy stuff from me. But there's remnants of it, here and there. Anyway, so now to this young woman who, I've been following her from this business that we did years ago. And I just recently noticed that she was on TikTok, and I believe her name is Dawn. I know her name is Dawn, but for whatever reason, I wasn't even expecting to mention her in this video. So I would have gone and looked at her name first. So please forgive me for not remembering your name. But I will write her socials in. into the video. But her name is Dawn. And I want to say, anyway, I'm not gonna, yeah, because that's gonna bother me. I hate that, like, just like that, her name just went out of my head. Anywho, so she had this idea, and she decided, like, you know what, I'm going to do like this introduction kind of thing online, and you know, I'm gonna give some, and I'm this is not exactly how she said it, but like, I'm gonna give some recommendations of pages to follow, and I want you to give me not interactions, what did I just say? When you give recommendations, pause. I just want to say that I am winding down for the night. I'm tired, but I just felt like I needed to get this out. So bear with me if you watch until the end. I truly believe something that will be said here will make sense, and that will be that will help you in your life. So, you know, she was like, you know, give me some recommendations, right? And I was surprised. Like, I didn't even realize that, I didn't know she was going to do this. I didn't even see a tag. Like, I just started following her. I saw her live on TikTok, and I started following her. But for whatever reason, my timeline, because I'm not really on social media like that, I don't really spend a lot of time on any app, but every now and then, like, because my kids will send me TikToks or whatever, I'll go to TikTok and I'll start scrolling. But she's like every video, like literally back to back. Like, there's not really a lot of breaks in between her videos. So I happened to go on TikTok and I saw her video, and so she mentioned me in one of her videos. The point that I'm making is, when she started talking about or introducing me to say, like, okay, this is an account that I think you guys should follow, she was like, you know, she introduced me and was like, you know, she deals with sensitive subjects, and she's talking a lot about trauma and healing, and, like, you know, topics that are just sensitive, like, you know, trigger warnings kind of thing. So I was like, oh snap. So I thought that was interesting, because she has not been following me for a long period of time. She doesn't know, as far as I'm understanding, she doesn't know that I used to do videos years ago. And so she didn't introduce me as a purpose pusher. She didn't introduce me as an encouragement enthusiast. She didn't introduce me from what I once was. So now, what's interesting about this is, I was doing, you know, I haven't really been, you know, active on my pages, because with this transition, with this divorce, and, you know, me changing and becoming a completely different person and trying to figure out who I am, I was like, I don't know what I want my platform to be. Like, what is my message? So I've been struggling with that for a long time, like trying to figure out what is my message. Like, anybody, if you've been following me for some time, you know that I don't speak unless I feel led to. I don't share stuff unless I feel led to, right? So it's like, what is my thing? So then, like, I've seen other people do. People will go through a divorce. They'll go through, like, the loss of a loved one, or they'll experience a sickness, and it's like, immediately, I want to now use my platform to talk about those things, because I either want to help people who are going through a diagnosis, I want to help people who are going through a divorce, I want to help people who are Christians, like, whatever the thing is. And for a second, my thought was like, oh, I've experienced trauma in my relationships, and so I wanted to be that person to, like, you know, talk about or use my experiences to help other people. But then I was like, but I don't want to do that, because I don't want to be like everybody else. And I also don't want to give any more energy to people from my past. I don't want to give any energy to other people, right? So I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. So I was just kind of sitting on it. And so when she introduced me as somebody who, my content is around trauma and sensitive subjects, I was like, so that, like, a light bulb went off. That was like, I think she gave me a key. And Dawn, she's a comedian. She does all types of stuff. She's definitely a comedian. She is hilarious. And she just likes to infuse laughter and lightness and happiness into people's lives. So I'm, like I said, I'm going to put her name down and I want you to follow her. Check her page out. So thank you for that, Dawn, for giving me that key that's like, mind you, I am going through, for those of you who don't know, I've gone back to school and I've been in school for my master's to become a clinical social worker. So I have also experienced another transition where I got injured in January. So I have been laid up for the past 7 months, almost 8 months. I believe it's 8 months, maybe. I can't count in my head right now. It's too much. But I feel like it's been like 8 months or close to 8 months that I've been home. I have not been able to work. I have not been able to go to school. I had to take a leave of absence, and I'm still on that leave of absence. I, thank God, have gotten my surgery, so I'm healing from that now. But being down like that had unearthed some more stuff. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? I remember I did a video talking about depression, and that's part of that space of all of this unearthing and you know, sitting with different emotions and feelings and reality and just life. Like, okay, what I pictured my life to be, it's not what I pictured my life to be, or even what I've wanted my life to be, right? So one thing that I want to share about this purpose pusher, talking about purpose, and now this other side of me that is very, you know, passionate and interested and invested in understanding trauma. First, it started with me wanting to understand my trauma, but then being able to help other people through their experiences of trauma. I realized something. I'm still a purpose pusher in the sense that this came to me a couple minutes ago when I was getting out the shower. This idea of whatever I do from this point on, I want it to be purposeful. Anytime I click record, anytime I do a video, like with that Supermom contest, I don't want to just say, hey, vote for me. Like, that wasn't my intention. I didn't want to do that. My intention was, I want to ask for your votes, but at the same time, I want there to be purpose in what I'm saying. I want to be able to share something that is going to help you in some kind of way, right? Okay, so there's that. But I realized something else. And this is where this other half of this video, the purpose of this other half. I realized something in this unearthing process. And like I said, everything that I do, I want it to be purposeful, right? So it's not me chasing purpose anymore. It's me living my life in a way that is purposeful with everything that I do, whoever I talk to, whoever I, encounter, share space with, share time with. I want it to be purposeful. And so I realized that there is and was something that is hindering me from doing that. And in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, like, you know what? I don't know, you who is watching this, whoever you are, you may have already come to this realization, okay? This may not be a new revelation for you, but this is a new revelation for me, okay? So just like any other time, whenever I get introduced to something, whenever I learn something, whenever I experience something, I'm like, I want to share it because it could potentially help you who's watching to get free in your own life and to have a shift in perspective in your own life. So what I realized is that I have not been able, to a degree, because I'm not going to say that everything that I've done has been in vain. I'm not saying that. I feel like whoever stumbles upon my videos, my old videos, whenever they do, that there's something that's going to be in there for that person that's going to bless them at that time. However, as far as what I need to do going forward and the space that I need to rest in going forward, I can't hide. I can't hide, and I can't be fearful. I can't be intimidated. I can't be insecure. I can't be full of pride. And so I hope that I can break this down the way that it came to me. So if you are new to this page and you are still listening to what I am saying, I just want to put a caveat out here just to let you know that I have a way of like going around. Like I'll put this piece here, put this piece here, put that piece here, and then they all tie in together. So that's what's gonna happen. So if it sounds like or feels like I'm all over the place, everything that I've said so far is connected, and I'm hoping that I can connect the dots the way that I feel it. So what I realized is that the reason why I didn't want to, take that space of like, oh, now I want to help people who has been in abusive relationships, or I want to help people who have experienced narcissistic abuse, or those people who, are going through divorce. I want to help them. The reason why I could not step into that space is because there was a part of me that was worried about the lurkers, the ones that just sit and lurk in the shadows, because they wanna know like what's going on. Like it's almost this feeling of like I'm out to get you, and I just I'm gonna do little things to try to get you, and then I'm gonna watch from a distance to see if it's working, kind of thing. And so I feel like that there are people that take this position or this place of like, I'm not going to let them see that I'm a victim. I'm not going to let them see that they hurt me, or I'm not going to let them see whatever it is, whether it's, platonic friendships, whether it's work relationships. Like this is speaking across the board, right? So I hope what I'm saying is making sense. So however this fits in your world, if this message is for you, you use it in whatever direction you need to use it in. So it's this thing of like, whatever I'm going through, whatever hard thing that I'm going through, if I'm sad, if I'm angry, if I'm disappointed, if I'm whatever the emotions are, I have to do it in private, because I cannot allow the lurkers to see, because I don't want them to think that they've won, or that they've, defeated me. You know what I'm saying? Like that space. So hopefully that makes sense. So what I realized is that's not living in a space of authenticity. If I'm trying to, sugarcoat or, keep certain things hidden, or don't say certain things, then I'm giving people power over me. I'm allowing people to have power over me. And today I said no more. Like no more. Because at the end of the day, I am in charge of my destiny to a degree. Like I subscribe to the idea that God is in control. However, I believe that I work in community, or in tandem. I work in conjunction with God. And ultimately it's my decisions, my, how I pivot, how I move, that gets me to where I need to be, right? So I decided that I will not be controlled by anybody. I'm not doing it. Like I'm not doing it. And so the ideas that were coming to me today is like, when I think about the areas that I have not been authentic, when I think of the areas that I have not like really owned and sat in it, like for somebody who created videos and, shared my experience in life to a degree, to a certain degree, I was a little transparent with certain things. So why would I stop now? You know what I'm saying? For the fear of what other people are going to think, or what other people will say. And so when I was in the shower, I had this thought, because remember I said that there's been this unearthing that has happened for the last, since I filed for my divorce. I feel like it was like maybe, so I think I've been divorced 2 years now, and then it was a year of like the process. So I want to say 3 years. Don't quote me, but I'm going to say 3 years. There's been this unearthing that just continues. And so the lessons that I've learned, okay, if you are experiencing a breakup of like a serious partner that you've been with, if you're experiencing a divorce, if you're experiencing a change in your career, something that once defined you, but now you're shedding those layers, and now you have to come into a new space of like finding and creating what you're going to be defined by next. There's an unearthing that has to happen, right? And so with this process, it's like, what am I afraid of? Like, at the end of the day, anybody who, all right, how do I want to say this? Me going through a divorce wrecked me in many different ways. Many different ways. It wrecked me in the sense of talking about this idea of like, you know, what you wanted your life to look like, where I thought I would see myself financially, you know, as far as like material possessions, when I think of just harmony of family, like harmony of that familial unit. And it would be inauthentic of me to have been involved with somebody for a period of time, it not go the way I wanted it to go, and me not be hurt by that. Now, you can be hurt by it, you can go through all of the motions, and you can also know that it was the best decision for you. Okay, so that's one key. That's one little nugget. There's this thing that I've acquired, this saying that it's not mine. I borrowed it from somebody else, but this idea that two things can be true at the same time, right? Two things can be true at the same time. So with that being said, it doesn't matter who knows that I was hurt. It doesn't matter who knows that, you know, I have to pull myself up and create a whole new life. Meaning I was a stay-at-home mom. I wasn't making a whole bunch of money. You know, then you have the pandemic and all that stuff. So then I wasn't working, then I got laid off. So having to recreate myself, having to get a job, having to be responsible for a whole household, that's been heavy. And I've said this in different videos at different times, but I don't think I've said it with the conviction that I'm saying it now. Like, that's life. That's not a bad thing. Like, this is real stuff that's really happening. And so the connection that I want to make with me not showing up and being authentic because of fear of who's watching, if a particular individual is watching, and me not wanting, you know, people to think that I'm going through anything, or that I'm, you know, like, oh, you can't know that I'm going through, like, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully that makes sense. I keep trying to explain it, but I can't say, I don't feel like it's coming out the way that I want it to come out. But anyway, I was in the shower and one of the unearthing, because I keep going to say this and then I keep distracting myself. So one of the pieces of unearthing that I realized is that as a parent, I have been experiencing a lot of guilt and shame, right? There's the guilt of, I screwed up. Like, my decision to marry a person has affected every area of my life. Ultimately for the better, because there was things that in areas that I needed to grow in. There was, this new, this emergence of, the Maisha 2.0, or, there's this ushering in of who I'm really supposed to be, who I was supposed to be, but there were things that I had to go through in order to, and still going through in order to become that person. And so as I was sitting there, I was like, okay, like I was feeling some kind of way, because I'm like, I carried guilt and shame. I've carried guilt and shame because I'm like, I cannot believe I fucked up. Like this one decision has cost me so much. This one decision. Like, so the other nugget that I want to leave for you is we gotta be careful with our decision making. Like at the end of the day, whatever the decision is, whatever the consequences are, we have to sit in those things. It is what it is. But just a reminder, who you choose to sleep with, who you choose to marry, who you choose to go into business with, who you choose to have in your space, it's important. It's important. And so I was having this guilt and this feeling of like, every time something would happen, and I'm not going to go into detail as far as like what the some things are, but like whatever different things would happen, I would find myself in this space of like, oh my God, am I being punished? Like, do I have to experience this for the rest of my life? Like, because I chose the route that I chose, now I'm experiencing stuff that I probably would have never experienced had I not made the choices that I made, right? But the beautiful thing that came to me today, and actually to make this make sense, the part that I am referring to, and this is so long, I don't know who's gonna watch this, but yes, it's important. It's important. So the guilt and stuff is surrounding my kids. It's surrounding, and just to keep, their personal business to, their personal business. I'm not going to say anything other than that. But the guilt and the shame that I've experienced has been around that, of like, it's my fault that they have to experience this. It's my fault that they have to experience that. It's my fault because of my choices. And so there's that guilt that's attached to that. But oh my gosh, the freedom that I received and the revelation that I received in the shower before I did this video. Now, I know for a fact that this does not mean that I'm like, I've suddenly arrived and that I'm not going to experience guilt and shame ever again. What I'm learning is that there's ebbs and flows. And when you are hit with a revelation, it is your job, like right now, it's my job to set the intention of what I want to see as it relates to that revelation, if that makes sense. So me speaking this out loud, it was important for me to speak this out loud because this is me, my understanding of what setting an intention looks like. I felt to do it in this way. And so the revelation that I received is this. I 100% have to own and sit in the choices that I have made in my life, right? Because of the choices that I have made in my life, there were consequences that were attached to that were not so good, right? And I've had to sit in that, and I'm sitting in that. I own that. I made decisions that were not good decisions, and it has affected every area of my life up until this point, and it has not been positive. Okay? But what I realized is that that's where it stops. That's it. So whatever my kids experience at the hand of somebody else has nothing to do with me. As a mom, and I feel like I can speak for moms in general. As moms, no, I'm not going to speak for moms in general. I'm going to speak for me. As a mom and as an individual, as a woman, I own and I acknowledge now that I am a fixer. and I see things and I want to fix them. And when I can't fix them, it upsets me. It frustrates me. It makes me sad. It makes me feel guilty. It has made me feel shame, right? Because I can't fix certain things, right? But the freedom that I got today is this. Because of the choices. Now, catch this. I really, really want, this is the next nugget and key that I want to share. And I hope that you catch this. I hope it lands for those who need it. Whatever choices that I've made in my life, whatever relationships I've chose to engage in, whatever people that I've chosen to bring into my space, whatever decisions that I have made in my life, right? Good and bad, have been the ingredients to create me, right? So everything from the time that I was a child to my, adolescence, to my young adult phase, to my adult phase, every single thing that I have experienced, every single thing that you have experienced, every choice that you've made, every good, bad, ugly, indifferent choice that we have made is what is shaping who we are right now. Okay? So what I recognized tonight is I am not in control. I'm not in control. And I have been trying to have control, and that is why I have been spinning my wheels. This is why I've been having a depressed mood, and I've been sad, and I've been frustrated, and I've been angry, because I have been trying to control the narrative of my life, and I've been trying to control the narrative of my kids' lives. But here's the thing. My choices and what they have created, good and bad, the consequences that I have to sit in, is my job. That's all on me. A line in the sand. Those on this side, my side, that is on me. Whatever the other person chooses to do and how they interact with my children or with our children, that's 100% on them. However they show up, however, whatever decisions they make, whatever stories they tell, whatever, whatever stories they tell. Whatever stories they tell our children, whatever stories they tell strangers, whatever stories that they tell, that's 100% on them. I don't have no control over that. That has nothing to do with me. So I'm not responsible. I'm so, this is making me so happy right now. I am not responsible for other people's behavior. That freed me today, or I should say tonight. I am not responsible for other people's behavior. Do you get that? Do you really, really, really get that? You are not responsible. A lot of us are holding guilt and shame for things that don't belong to us. You know what kind of person you are. You know how you show up. You know how you treat people. You know your heart. You know what makes you sad. You know what makes you hurt. You and even if you don't know 100%, you're learning those things through these different choices that you're making. So I'm saying all of this to say, when it comes to trauma, you are only responsible for the decisions that you have made. You are only responsible to heal you. If you have children that are in the mix or other people that are affected, you take ownership for the fact that, you know what, my choices have affected you, and it sucks, and I'm sorry. But you can't fix it. You can't fix it. You're not in control of it. You can't change it. Why? Guess what? Because everything that for my story, that my children experience is going to shape them to make their own decisions one day. Well, not one day. They're already making their own decisions. And it's ultimately going to create them to be the people that they will be. I'm not in control of who they're going to be. I have been blessed with the job of birthing them. I have been blessed with the job of nurturing them and teaching them and pouring into them. I have one that's about to be 18 next month. I have one that's 16. I have one that is 11. I have been pouring into them. That's all I can do. Oh my gosh. Like, I've been so focused on trying to control what goes in and what comes out and what, like, oh my gosh, I have to manage it all. Like, oh, why? Like, that's being said and that's being done and this is being this and that's going to affect them. And how can I be there for them to help them through those moments? And that's not bad. That's not bad, but it's not my responsibility. Everybody has to take ownership for their own behavior. So, whatever it is that we choose to do in life, there is a law, a law of the world. In the church world, they call it sowing and reaping. In other spiritual circles, they call it karma. In other circles, I don't even know what other circles what other ones that they are. But all of it is like, at the end of the day, we have to answer for who we are and how we show up in the world. So I'm excited because I think I got the key that I needed to at least tell me what direction, if I am going to be doing content, what direction I'm going to be going in now. And the intention that I'm setting in this moment is that I want to be honest. I want to be truthful to myself. I made this vow to myself years ago, where it was like, you know what? No matter how painful it is, no matter how painful it is, I vow to tell the truth. I vow to tell the truth to myself. I vow to, a little caveat to add to that I'm going to seek out the truth. And that's the craziest thing. These last 7 months have been me seeking out truth. God, what is happening? What is going on? Like, what is happening? And I'm so excited that I received a key today. I received a key today, and I'm excited. And so I wanted to share it with you because I like I said, I'm realizing that the purposeful part is whatever it is that you do, be purposeful with it. Don't just be speaking just to be speaking. Don't just be doing just to be doing. Don't just, set intentions. Be purposeful with your life. Be purposeful with your words. And I'm here to say that I'm, the beauty in all of this is like, we're human. We're human. We are living a human experience. So yes, we're going to get hurt by things. Yes, we're going to experience disappointment. Yes, people are going to hurt our feelings. Yes, people are going to damage us in some cases. Some people are going to try to damage us in other spaces. Sometimes it's going to work. Sometimes it's not. But, and if it does work, it's still okay. You don't have to hide from it. And I'm realizing I don't have to hide from being hurt. I don't have to hide by being taken advantage of. I don't have to hide, the fact that I've been misused and mistreated, and that I've experienced sadness or anger or frustration or regret or disappointment. Like, those are human emotions. Those are human experiences. And anybody that tries to shame you for feeling those human experiences when someone wrongs you and someone mishandles you, that's not on you. It's not on you. And there's no reason to feel shame or guilt because of other people's actions. Like, oh my gosh, like, that's such an epiphany to me. Like, it's such an epiphany. So I wanted to share that with you because that blessed me. And, I really, really hope that you got something from that. It fit, like, anyway, whatever. I thank you if you made it all the way to the end. I thank you. I thank you. And I'm going to put in the description the young woman that, shouted me out in her video and was asking people to follow me. And I'm doing the same. So I'm going to put her information in. I've there's many ways to, what I was going to say is I've been isolated for a while with this injury. I've been isolated, and I'm an extrovert. I don't do well being isolated. I vibe and feed off of the energy of other people, the happiness of other people. I enjoy being around other people. And so I realize when I'm not around other people and I don't get to vibe out and be in that space with other people, it makes me sad. It makes me sad. Even depressed, where it's like, I need people. And so what I know now is that the communities that I used to be a part of in the past, I'm not interested in being a part of those communities anymore. So I am, in this transition of rebuilding. I'm in this transition of, finding the community that's for me in the space and time, and evolution that I'm in right now. So yeah, if if anything that I've said has resonated with you, and you want to tell me about it, you want to share, send me a message. Like, I would love to receive it. I would love to read it. And I really, really hope that something that I said was an encouragement to you, and gave you freedom to feel, and gave you freedom to own what you're going through and not be ashamed of it, because it's life and we're humans. So with that being said, this is now 43 minutes and counting. I don't know who's going to watch this, but I just believe that whoever this is supposed to be for, that you will find it, and that you will watch it, and that you will be blessed, and that you will be encouraged, and that you will be strengthened, and that you will be empowered, and that this will be one of those things that I do that was purposeful. So until my next video, I wish you all the best that life has to offer for you. And I pray that you have, that God sends you people on your journey, over whoever you believe in, the ancestors, whatever, because I understand that my platform is not all Christians anymore. And so I hold that space and that hope that you will receive the help that you need during these trying times that you may be in. And if you've already made it out of those trying times and you are now coming out on the other side, I pray that you pay it forward and lift up somebody else and encourage somebody else that could be going through what they're going through. So yeah, I'll leave you with that, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Until next time, deuces.